Here's the truth. The way you start your morning decides how the rest of your day unfolds. For most people, mornings are chaotic. They wake up late, rush through breakfast, check their phones, and sprint out the door already feeling behind. That first hour sets the tone, and the tone is stress, distraction, and survival. But successful people? They treat mornings differently. They understand that those first few hours are sacred. They're the foundation on which the entire day is built. In fact, if you study some of the most successful people in America, CEOs, athletes, entrepreneurs, creators, you'll notice one common thread: intentional morning habits. Let's start with a story. Picture this. It's 5 a.m. in Ohio. While most people are still asleep, LeBron James is already awake. Before his family wakes up, before the media calls, before the weight of being one of the greatest basketball players in history takes over, he's in the gym, working on his body and his mind. Why? Because he knows that discipline in the morning fuels dominance later. His habit isn't just about exercise. It's about setting a mental standard before the world demands his attention. Now, you might not be an NBA superstar, but here's the truth. The principle is the same. Your morning isn't about reacting to life. It's about creating life. Most people wait for motivation to appear. Successful people create motivation by starting their day with purpose. The first habit we'll talk about is waking up with intention. Notice, I didn't say waking up early. That matters, yes, but the key is intention. If you wake up and immediately grab your phone, you're already living someone else's priorities. Emails, notifications, social media, all of it hijacks your mind. But if you wake up and decide, these first moments belong to me, everything changes. Think of Benjamin Franklin, one of America's founding fathers. Every morning, he asked himself a simple question: what good shall I do this day? That one habit, repeated daily, kept his focus on contribution instead of distraction. And it worked. His mornings shaped a legacy that still inspires the world today. Another example, Apple CEO Tim Cook starts his day at 3:45 a.m. Why? Because those quiet hours allow him to think clearly, plan strategically, and respond before the noise of the day. He doesn't stumble into his morning. He owns it. And here's where most people get it wrong. They think mornings are about reacting, rushing through a shower, grabbing coffee, maybe scrolling on their phone before work. But the people who change their lives think differently. They ask, how can I use this time to fuel my body, sharpen my mind, and strengthen my spirit? That shift, from reaction to creation, is everything. So let's be clear. This video isn't about waking up at 5 a.m. because it's trendy. It's not about copying someone else's routine exactly. It's about adopting the mindset that your mornings matter. Because when you control your morning, you control your day. And when you control your day, you control your life. Here's the hook. Over the next few parts, we'll break down 5 specific morning habits that the most successful people use. Habits that will not just add productivity, but will truly change your life. These are habits you can start tomorrow morning, no matter who you are or where you are. But before we dive into habit number 1, let me leave you with this. Mornings are a choice. You can choose to drift into your day on autopilot, or you can choose to design it with purpose. One path leads to average results. The other leads to transformation. And trust me, when you begin your morning differently, your entire life begins to shift. Imagine this. The alarm goes off, you roll over, and before your feet even hit the floor, your hand reaches for your phone. You scroll through emails, check social media, maybe glance at the news. In less than 3 minutes, your mind is already filled with everyone else's problems, everyone else's opinions, and everyone else's urgency. Sound familiar? That's how most people start their day. But here's the problem. When you let the world set the tone for your morning, you give away your power before you've even had your coffee. Successful people? They think differently. They know that the way you start your morning programs your brain for the entire day. That's why their first habit is simple but powerful. They start with gratitude and mental clarity. Let's look at Oprah Winfrey. Every morning, before meetings, before cameras, before decisions that influence millions, she spends a few minutes in silence. She reflects, prays, and journals about what she's grateful for. Why? Because she knows gratitude shifts focus from what's missing to what's possible. It's not just a spiritual practice, it's a psychological strategy. Gratitude rewires the brain. Scientists at UCLA have shown that practicing gratitude regularly activates the brain's dopamine pathways, the same pathways that create motivation and happiness. In other words, gratitude is fuel. And it's not just celebrities. Think about soldiers in the US military. Many of them, after returning from deployments, practice gratitude journaling as part of recovery. Why? Because even after facing trauma, gratitude creates resilience. It helps the mind focus on hope instead of despair. If it works in those extreme circumstances, imagine what it can do for your daily stress. But gratitude is only half the story. The other half is clarity. Most people wake up and let their minds race in 1,000 directions. They think about bills, deadlines, arguments, to-do lists. Successful people pause. They create space. That space might be through meditation, journaling, prayer, or even a quiet walk. The practice doesn't matter as much as the principle. Give your mind a moment to breathe before the world demands your attention. Let's use an example. Jack Dorsey, co-founder of Twitter and Square, starts his mornings with meditation. He doesn't dive straight into emails or meetings. He creates clarity first. Why? Because clarity leads to better decisions. If your mind is scattered, your day is scattered. But if your mind is clear, you lead your day with focus and strength. Now, here's the truth most people don't realize. Gratitude and clarity don't take an hour. They don't even take 20 minutes. You can transform your mindset in as little as 5. Picture this. You wake up, sit at the edge of your bed, close your eyes, and take 3 deep breaths. Then you ask yourself, what are 3 things I'm grateful for right now? They don't have to be big. Maybe it's your health, your kids, the fact that you have another day to live. That's gratitude. Then you ask yourself, what is the most important thing I need to focus on today? That's clarity. Congratulations. In under 5 minutes, you've already set your mind on success. Compare that to the average person who starts the day with chaos. One is living on purpose. The other is living by accident. Here's another story to prove the point. Sarah, a young entrepreneur in New York, used to wake up anxious every morning. Her phone would buzz nonstop, and she'd dive into work immediately. She thought she was being productive, but she was burning out. Then she made one small shift. She started writing down 3 things she was grateful for and 1 intention for the day before touching her phone. Within weeks, her stress dropped, her focus sharpened, and her business began to grow faster than ever. She didn't change her business model, she changed her mornings. And here's the thing, gratitude isn't about ignoring problems. Life is hard. Bills come, challenges hit, relationships struggle. Gratitude doesn't erase those things, but it gives you strength to face them. It's like putting on armor before stepping into battle. Without it, every arrow hits you harder. With it, you're prepared. Clarity works the same way. When you have clarity in the morning, you stop reacting to everything that comes your way. Instead, you respond with purpose. And that's a huge difference. Think about Martin Luther King Jr. His speeches and leadership didn't come from chaos. They came from clarity of vision. He knew exactly what he stood for, and that clarity allowed him to move a nation. So let's get practical. If you want to apply habit number 1 tomorrow morning, here's what to do. Don't touch your phone first thing. Give yourself at least 5 minutes of space. List 3 things you're grateful for. Write them down if you can. Set 1 intention for the day. Ask yourself, what's the one thing I can do today that will make everything else easier or unnecessary? That's it. Simple. But simple doesn't mean small. Over time, this habit rewires your brain. It shifts you from scarcity to abundance, from confusion to clarity, from stress to strength. And here's the bigger picture. When you combine gratitude and clarity every morning, you stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You stop waiting for good days and start creating them. So let me ask you, tomorrow morning, will you give away your power to your phone, your inbox, your newsfeed? Or will you take just 5 minutes to program your brain for success? The choice is yours, and that choice will change your life. Think about the first thing most people do when they wake up. They drag themselves out of bed, half asleep, pour a giant cup of coffee, and hope the caffeine will kick in before they need to function. Their body is stiff, their energy is low, and their mind feels foggy. That's how they start their day, already in survival mode. But successful people? They know something powerful. Motion creates emotion. The way you move your body in the morning shapes the way your mind performs all day. That's why their second habit is simple but life-changing. They move their body before anything else. Let's start with a story. Picture Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. While most of America is still sleeping, he's in the gym at 4 a.m. lifting, sweating, moving with intensity. He's one of the busiest entertainers in the world, filming movies, running businesses, raising a family. Yet he never skips his morning workout. Why? Because he knows his energy isn't optional. It's fuel. Without it, he can't perform at the level the world expects from him. Now, you might not need to look like The Rock. You don't need a Hollywood gym or 2 hours every morning. But here's the principle. When you move your body, you generate energy. That energy becomes your advantage. Science backs this up. Researchers at Harvard found that just 20 minutes of exercise in the morning significantly improves focus, memory, and mood for the rest of the day. You're literally priming your brain to operate at a higher level. Contrast that with someone who skips movement, stays sluggish, and spends the day fighting fatigue. One mindset is proactive, the other is reactive, and it doesn't have to be complicated. Let's take Tony Robbins. Every morning, he does something he calls priming. Part breathing exercises, part movement, part focus. He literally jumps into a cold plunge or does a quick physical routine to wake his nervous system. It's not about six-pack abs. It's about creating peak energy. Here's the thing most people miss. Movement in the morning isn't just physical. It's mental. When you push your body, even lightly, you send a signal to your brain. We are alive. We are strong. We are ready. That signal changes everything. Suddenly, challenges don't feel as heavy. Stress doesn't feel as overwhelming. Your mind is sharper because your body is awake. Think about U.S. soldiers. During basic training, mornings always begin with physical exercise. Not because the military cares about six-packs, but because they understand discipline and energy are built in the body before they're proven on the battlefield. Move the body, strengthen the mind. That's a principle as old as time. Now, let's make this practical. You don't need hours. You don't need equipment. You don't even need a gym membership. You just need commitment. For some, it's a 20-minute run. For others, it's yoga, push-ups, or even a fast-paced walk while listening to something inspiring. The key isn't the method. The key is the movement. Take Barack Obama. During his presidency, with one of the most stressful jobs on earth, he still carved out 45 minutes almost every morning for exercise. Why? Because he knew if he didn't take care of his body, he couldn't take care of the nation. That's how powerful this habit is. And let's talk about the alternative. Imagine two versions of yourself. Version 1. You wake up, scroll your phone, pour coffee, sit in traffic, and stumble into work already tired. Version 2. You wake up, stretch, breathe, move your body for even 15 minutes, and walk into your day with energy. Which version do you think wins in business, in relationships, in life? Movement isn't optional if you want to succeed. Energy is the currency of high performance. Without it, nothing else works. With it, everything works better. Here's another story. Sarah Blakely, billionaire founder of Spanx, often talks about how she starts her day with movement. Whether it's a quick workout or yoga, she prioritizes her body. Why? Because as she puts it, your mind follows your body. And that's true. When your body is sluggish, your thoughts are sluggish. When your body is energized, your ideas flow. And here's the best part. Consistency matters more than intensity. You don't need to crush yourself in the gym every morning. You just need to move daily. Small, consistent actions build massive momentum. So here's the challenge. Tomorrow morning, before you touch your phone, before you check your emails, before you pour that cup of coffee, move your body. Do something that raises your heart rate, stretches your muscles, and wakes up your system. Just 10 to 20 minutes is enough to shift your entire day. Because here's the truth. Successful people don't wait to feel energized. They generate energy. They don't wait for motivation. They create it. And it all begins with moving the body before anything else. So let me ask you, will you drag yourself through mornings like most people? Or will you stand up, move, and claim the energy that's already inside you? The choice is yours. And that choice might just change your life. Here's a tough truth. Most people wake up and immediately start consuming, but they consume junk. News headlines designed to create fear. Social media posts that spark comparison. Emails filled with other people's demands. By the time they've had breakfast, their mind is already overloaded with negativity, distraction, and noise. Successful people? They think differently. They know that the mind is like a garden. If you don't plant the right seeds in the morning, weeds will take over. That's why their third habit is intentional. They feed their mind before the world does. Let's start with an example. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world. Every morning, he spends hours reading newspapers, annual reports, books, not because he has to, but because he wants to. He understands that knowledge compounds like money. What you feed your mind daily determines the decisions you make, and those decisions determine your destiny. Another story. Will Smith once said that throughout his career, he fed his mind with positivity and self-development. He read books, listened to mentors, studied success. Why? Because he knew that if his thoughts were strong, his actions would follow. The mind leads, the body follows. Now, here's the problem for most people. They think mornings are just about getting ready physically. Brush your teeth, shower, eat breakfast, go. But successful people know mornings are also about getting ready mentally. They don't just dress their body, they dress their mind. Think of it this way. What you feed your mind in the first hour of your day sets your mental diet. If you feed it junk, endless scrolling, gossip, negativity, you'll carry that mental junk all day. But if you feed it wisdom, positivity, inspiration, or education, you'll carry strength. It's the difference between fueling your car with premium gas or with garbage. One drives you forward, the other leaves you broken down. Here's an example from the business world. Howard Schultz, former CEO of Starbucks. In his early career, he would spend his mornings reading and studying leadership before heading into the office. He believed the quality of his thinking determined the quality of his leadership. That daily mental diet prepared him to lead Starbucks from a small coffee chain into a global empire. And here's the science. Psychologists have found that the first hour of the morning is when your brain is most impressionable. Your subconscious is still in a semi-dreamlike state, absorbing information deeply. That means whatever you consume in that first hour imprints onto your brain more strongly than at any other time of the day. So ask yourself, do you really want to spend that golden hour feeding your brain negativity and distractions? Let's make this practical. Feeding your mind doesn't mean you have to spend hours reading philosophy. It could be as simple as reading 10 pages of a good book, listening to a motivational podcast, watching an inspiring video instead of mindless content, journaling a few positive thoughts or affirmations. The method doesn't matter as much as the direction. You're choosing to start your day by programming your brain with intention. Here's another powerful story. Kobe Bryant, the legendary NBA player. He was famous not only for his physical workouts, but also for his mental workouts. He fed his mind with visualization, studying game film, and learning from other greats. He didn't just train his body, he trained his mind every single morning. That mindset gave him an edge that made him one of the greatest athletes in history. Contrast that with the average person. They roll out of bed, open TikTok, laugh at a few random videos, check Instagram, and then wonder why they feel unfocused, unmotivated, and uninspired. The difference isn't talent. The difference is diet, the mental diet. Now let's connect this back to you. Imagine starting your day not with noise, but with nourishment. You open a book that challenges your thinking. You listen to a podcast that inspires you. You write down one powerful thought that becomes your compass for the day. That mental fuel gives you clarity, courage, and confidence. Suddenly, when challenges hit, you're not shaken. You're ready because you've already trained your mind. And let's be real, your life reflects the quality of your thinking. If you want to change your life, you have to change your thoughts. And if you want to change your thoughts, you have to change what you feed your mind. Here's the formula. Garbage in, garbage out. Greatness in, greatness out. And it's not about perfection. You don't need to spend 3 hours every morning studying like Warren Buffett. You just need to make a choice. Feed your mind something valuable before the world feeds you noise. Let's wrap this with a question. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, what will you feed your mind? Negativity, distraction, and noise? Or wisdom, positivity, and clarity? One choice keeps you average. The other makes you unstoppable. Because at the end of the day, success isn't just about what you do. It's about what you think. And what you think depends on what you feed your mind. Let's be honest. Most people start their day reacting. They wake up, check emails, scroll through notifications, and before they know it, their day has already been hijacked by other people's agendas. They live in reaction mode. putting out fires instead of moving toward their own dreams. But successful people? They do something very different. They don't let the day control them. They control the day. And it all starts in the morning with one powerful habit: planning their day with purpose. Now, I'm not talking about long, overwhelming to-do lists that never get finished. We've all tried that, and we've all felt the frustration of ending the day with more unchecked boxes than checked ones. I'm talking about intentional, laser-focused planning, where you decide what actually matters and lock it in before distractions take over. Take Benjamin Franklin, one of the founding fathers of the United States. Every morning, before he began his work, he asked himself one question: what good shall I do today? That simple question wasn't about chores or errands. It was about purpose. It framed his mindset, shaped his actions, and directed his energy. And if you look at his legacy, inventor, diplomat, writer, revolutionary, you can see the power of that one daily habit. Here's another example: Oprah Winfrey. At the start of each day, she takes time to center herself and decide her priorities. She's known for her gratitude practice, but also for being ruthless about what makes it onto her daily agenda. She doesn't just fill her calendar with busy work. She focuses on what aligns with her mission. That's how she built an empire while staying true to her values. The truth is, successful people don't confuse activity with progress. They know being busy isn't the same as being productive. And the only way to guarantee productivity is to plan with purpose. Now let's look at the science. Research from the Dominican University of California found that people who write down their goals are 42% more likely to achieve them. Why? Because writing forces clarity. It takes your vague thoughts and turns them into concrete actions. And when you combine that with a morning routine, you set your brain on a mission before the world has a chance to distract you. So how do the most effective people do this? They don't just create to-do lists. They create must-do lists. Instead of 15 random tasks, they focus on 2 to 3 needle-moving actions, the ones that actually push their life, business, or career forward. Let me give you an example from the business world: Elon Musk. His days are scheduled in 5-minute blocks. That level of intensity may not be practical for most of us, but it shows how serious he is about controlling his time. Every block has a purpose. Every minute is intentional. That's why he can run multiple billion-dollar companies simultaneously. But let's make it practical for you. Here's a simple system you can use tomorrow morning. Write down your top 3 priorities for the day. Not 10, not 20, just 3. Ask yourself why these matter. Connect them to a bigger goal. Block time for them in your schedule. If it's not scheduled, it won't get done. That's it. 3 steps. And the best part? When you do this in the morning, you go into the day already knowing what matters. Distractions may still come, but you won't get lost in them because you've already decided your mission. Think about a pilot flying from New York to Los Angeles. Before takeoff, they file a flight plan. Without that plan, turbulence or wind could push them hundreds of miles off course. The same is true for your day. Without a plan, life's turbulence, emails, meetings, random tasks will push you far off course. With a plan, you always know how to get back on track. Here's another inspiring story: Steve Jobs. He was famous for asking himself one question every morning: if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do? If the answer was no, too many days in a row, he knew something needed to change. That's not just planning. That's purposeful planning, aligning your day with your life's true mission. And let's not forget the emotional impact. When you plan with purpose, you feel calmer. You're not constantly stressed, wondering what you should do next. You have clarity, and clarity creates confidence. Contrast this with the average person. They spend their mornings rushing, reacting, and multitasking. By noon, they're exhausted, and yet they've accomplished nothing meaningful. At night, they feel guilty, promising themselves tomorrow will be better. But unless they change their habit, tomorrow looks exactly like today. Planning with purpose is the cure. It breaks the cycle of reactivity and puts you in control. And control is freedom. So here's your challenge. Tomorrow morning, before you check your phone or dive into work, take 5 minutes to plan your day with purpose. Write down your top 3 priorities. Connect them to your bigger goals. Then, commit to them like your life depends on it. Because here's the truth: success doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. And design begins every morning when you choose to plan your day with purpose. Let me ask you a question. What's the very first thought you usually have when you wake up? For many people, it's something like, ugh, I'm tired, or I don't want to go to work, or I wish I had more time, more money, more energy. Without realizing it, they're starting their day from a place of lack, a mindset of scarcity. But successful people, they flip the script. They begin their day with gratitude. They understand that gratitude is not just a feel-good emotion. It's a mindset weapon. It rewires your brain, primes your attitude, and unlocks opportunities you'd otherwise miss. Take Oprah Winfrey. For years, she has talked about her gratitude practice. Every morning, she writes down 3 things she's thankful for. They're not always big things. Sometimes it's just a good cup of coffee or the sound of birds outside her window. But by doing this, she shifts her mind from, I don't have enough, to I already have so much. That shift creates confidence, calm, and joy, and it sets the tone for everything she does. Here's another example. Richard Branson, the billionaire founder of Virgin. Despite his wealth and achievements, he begins his mornings reflecting on gratitude for his health, his family, and even the chance to keep learning. He credits this mindset as one of his greatest tools for handling stress and risk. Now, you might think gratitude is too simple to change your life. But here's the science. Studies from UC Davis and other universities have shown that people who practice daily gratitude sleep better, feel healthier, handle stress more effectively, and even strengthen their immune systems. Gratitude literally rewires your brain to focus on opportunities instead of obstacles. And when you combine gratitude with mindset mastery, the conscious decision to focus your thoughts, you become unstoppable. Think about Muhammad Ali. Every morning, he repeated affirmations, I am the greatest. At the time, many people thought he was arrogant. But those affirmations weren't arrogance, they were mindset mastery. He was programming his brain for greatness before stepping into the ring. And guess what? His belief became his reality. This is the principle. What you focus on expands. If you focus on problems, your problems grow. If you focus on possibilities, your opportunities grow. Gratitude plus mindset mastery is the formula for unstoppable success. Let's make it practical. Tomorrow morning, here's what you can do. Write down 3 things you're grateful for. They can be big or small. The key is to feel the gratitude, not just list it. Repeat one powerful affirmation out loud, something that affirms your strength, purpose, or vision. For example, I am capable of handling anything today brings. Or, today, I move one step closer to my dreams. Visualize your ideal day for 1 minute. Imagine yourself calm, confident, and in control. That's it. 3 simple steps. Less than 5 minutes. But those 5 minutes will completely rewire how you experience the day. Here's a story from sports. Michael Phelps, the most decorated Olympian of all time, used visualization and affirmations every morning before his races. He didn't just train his body, he trained his mind. By the time he stepped into the pool, he had already seen himself winning 1,000 times. That mindset gave him the edge. Now let's look at the alternative. Most people start their day with worry, stress, or comparison. They scroll through social media and feel behind. They replay problems from yesterday or fear about tomorrow. By 9 a.m., their energy is drained, not from work, but from their own thoughts. Gratitude and mindset mastery break that cycle. Here's something powerful. You cannot be grateful and fearful at the same time. The brain can't hold those 2 states together. Gratitude dissolves fear. Gratitude dissolves anger. Gratitude dissolves stress. That's why successful people guard this habit. They know it gives them emotional resilience. And let's not underestimate mindset mastery. Look at Jim Carrey. Before he became famous, he wrote himself a check for $10 million, dated for a future year, and visualized receiving it for acting services rendered. Years later, he was paid almost exactly that amount for his role in Dumb and Dumber. Was it magic? No, it was mindset mastery. He fed his mind a clear vision until it became reality. So here's the challenge for you. Tomorrow morning, instead of rushing into the chaos of life, take 5 minutes. Write down what you're grateful for. Speak your affirmations. Visualize your best self. Do it consistently, and you'll notice something incredible. Life starts responding differently. Opportunities appear. Stress feels lighter. Confidence feels natural. Because here's the ultimate truth. Success isn't built on chance. It's built on habits. And gratitude plus mindset mastery is the habit that transforms everything else. Now let's zoom out. You've just learned 5 morning habits that can change your life. Owning your mornings before the world does. Moving your body to create energy. Feeding your mind before the world does. Planning your day with purpose. Practicing gratitude and mindset mastery. Individually, each habit is powerful, but together, they are unstoppable. They form a system that takes you from living in reaction to living in creation, from surviving to thriving, from average to extraordinary. So here's my call to action. Don't just listen. Don't just nod your head. Take action. Pick one habit and start tomorrow, even if it's just 5 minutes of movement or writing down one thing you're grateful for. Small steps done consistently lead to massive transformation. Because in the end, your mornings create your life. Win the morning, and you win the day. Win enough days, and you win your future. So I'll leave you with this. Tomorrow morning, when the alarm rings, you have 2 choices. Stay the same, or step into the life you were meant to live. Which one will you choose?